Toronto Police launching Project Community Space today. It is a 3-month plan to fight gun and gang violence. It involves officers from across the city under a central task force that will be intelligence-led. So here's the police chief explaining what intelligence-led means.
When we talk about intelligence-led policing, we have to do it in accordance to what the situation is. The problem with street gang violence is that it is dynamic in nature. You can take one or two particular flashpoints and then you see that it starts to expand and multiply.
Let's talk about the money now. $4.5 million from the federal, provincial and municipal governments announced in new and immediate funding. So you can expect to see more police presence in communities that have been hit hard. Officers also monitoring bail compliance and engaging with community programs. Let's talk about this project, which will be going until October 31st. It's magic. Chief Saunders joins us now from that press conference. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Chief. There are a lot of questions when it comes to this project. Some critics have called it a Band-Aid solution in that it's not getting at the root of the problem. Let's explain exactly what's going to be happening in these communities.
Well, we play the enforcement piece, and right now, when we've got this disorder that's going on, where we're having the shootings that are occurring, and the vast majority are street gang related, our focus is on street gangs. And when I speak to intelligence-led, I speak to a lot of policing components. It's not just the uniform presence going in and trying to solve the day. We have people that are specialized in understanding what the patterns are, what the trends are, who the gang members are, what the storylines are that motivates one to shoot the other, and also looking at retaliations and things along those elements within the street gang subculture. It's also working with the community. So our community response officers, our neighborhood officers, are speaking with the communities to figure out what the local issues are. And then, of course, there are partnerships. If we're going to have the sustainability, there are so many other agencies that need to come in here to make this work and to have the sustainable component to it. And the last piece deals with bail. We're going to tighten up on those that have been charged, specifically with firearm offenses, to make sure that they are in compliance.
Let's talk about that tightening up. What would that look like?
Well, my role is not to give the playbook. Here's what we're doing, folks, so counter it.
Yeah.
But just rest assured that those that will be on conditions will have to comply more than they have been.
We've talked to a number of community members, and at the root of all of this, communities are scared. There are a lot of, we had some mums who have lost their sons on the show just a couple days ago and said something needs to be done, but they don't think it's going to happen overnight. Do you think it's going to take a long time for some of these communities to really feel like they are safe again? Sure.
The state that a lot of places are did not happen overnight. It took a long time of lack of funding, lack of opportunity, lack of resources that has created this particular environment. And I've said before that people are not born street gang members, they become. Take the lived experience to understand why, at some point in time in their lives, they figured that they will pick up that gun and use that gun. That is not the norm. The vast majority of kids do not, but those that do have a lived experience that has put them there. So we coming in and arresting is not the solution, but it is a factor right now that is necessary to bring peace within the communities, which is why it's called Community Space. That's our project. It is about the community and creating the proper space that should be there.
Chief, this program sounds fairly familiar to some of our viewers last summer, something along the lines. I know there was increased presence in certain communities. How is it different?
Because there are different layers and different lenses that are coming to the table this time, because it is led by the Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force. These are experts, I will say the best experts, when it comes to street gang subculture investigations in the country. And so it is specific, it is led by them, as well as the intelligence components working in harmony, and then distributing what the details and what should be done with the specific resources that are going to be at their access.
Do you believe more funding will be needed to make this really be effective?
Yeah, I spoke to it, and this is not about mass incarceration. I do not believe or subscribe to mass incarceration, but I will subscribe to right incarceration. Those people that are shooting others, unfortunately, they didn't make it through the first basket. They're now in my enforcement basket. There needs to be that deterrent factor so that when it's time to pick up that gun, that and a couple of other tools, you won't pick up that gun. So we have to look at all three baskets. The funding piece needs to be within those communities. We're working with the levels of government to have those conversations, and we're working with the communities to help support them so that they have the right platform to articulate what the needs are.
Okay, Chief, as always, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.